Welcome to Conversate, our podcast where we engage in conversation, and we are back. This is Aaron Gerke coming back from a 3-month sabbatical, a time of rest with my family, and Kevin and I are back on the brown couch. I know that you've been waiting for this anxiously, and so we're going to have a conversation here today about a variety of different things, but primarily love. God's love for us, our love for one another, and what that really means in a biblical sense. So I truly love you guys, and I'm happy to be back home with my family. And so as always, our goal in this conversation is that you'll hear something and then go start another spiritual conversation with somebody else. As always, we hope you enjoy it. Wow, we can't. Stop. People, oh my goodness. Wow. Oh. Encore. Are they saying encore? Oh, they want more. The people want more.
Man, that was crazy.
Wow.
This also is recorded in front of a live studio audience.
Live studio audience.
I've never said that. Hey, welcome back, man.
Where have I been?
You tell me.
I won't.
That's the big mystery. Not till, what is it, August something?
Yeah, August 25th. I won't say a word.
August 25th. No, that's not true.
That's
you
not
released
true.
You released photo evidence
I did.
of your exploits.
Maybe I'll just do that. Just day by day. Just little drips.
A little drip, another photo.
Little leak to the media.
Accidental. That's gonna go.
How did this get out?
Yeah, exactly. You got to be outraged by it. In case you've seen. Well, that was actually funny. You said like that there was these ideas going around of parts of the world you'd been to.
Yeah. Did you start those?
I cannot confirm or deny it. People would. It's actually funny. I would get asked occasionally when you were gone. You know, like, "Hey, how's Aaron doing?" I'm like, I don't know. Like that's kind of the point of this thing is he's gone.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I call you every day.
Yeah.
Give you a little report.
We check in.
I really didn't though, and I genuinely missed you.
Yeah.
Besides that one time we went biking and you almost died, but
It was that time.
Yeah.
And there was one other communal encounter.
Right. That's right.
That was fun.
Yeah. No, it was good. And I'm really not trying to be coy or cryptic. I just want to answer it in one fell swoop and not over and over again.
Yeah. That would get boring.
Yeah.
For you.
Who knows? By that point, maybe I will travel to Barbados in the stories.
Yeah.
So if I have to tell it over and over again, they're going to become more elaborate. That's the point.
Sometimes happens. Yeah.
I went to Uzbekistan and I don't know what they do in Uzbekistan.
That's what they like with these drips, you know, these drips of your adventures. You shouldn't give no description or context. It's just a photo of a place.
Ooh.
And like not even like a great photo that's like really clear of like where is this, you know? It could be like the corner of a wall.
Yeah. We could like guess where they were.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be fun. Yeah. That'd be fun.
I know of a certain video you could play as well if you wanted to. You could include.
Ooh, maybe I will. I don't want to get in trouble. Sorry, the inside jokes, friends.
Yeah.
You gotta, if you're on the brown couch, you would understand.
That's right. Now, you're like, oh, we got to deal with this again.
What are they? They're just talking between the two of them. It's like they don't even know we're here. Kevin, there are people listening to this.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. We haven't done this in a while. Hopefully over the summer, if you're a faithful Conversate listener, you found merit in going back through the archives. There's quite a few episodes there. I think this is like 180 something, right? Maybe 190. Maybe the 200 yet?
There? I don't know.
We're above 170. I know that.
Wow.
I think.
Well, time for a new studio.
I hear it's coming. I'm sorry we didn't get that project completed while you were gone.
I got rid of my rug though.
You used to have a rug in here?
Mm-hmm.
Was that gone when you returned?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I'm sorry, buddy.
Yeah, Marcus told me something about he thought we should get rid of the rug.
I miss it. I didn't miss it until you said something though.
It was pretty gross.
Yeah. I never like
Maybe I'll get a new rug.
I never like things to change.
Yeah.
I was like, to stay the same forever.
I like change.
Oh.
I don't like people changing my stuff, and I'm really upset about the rug missing.
Oh, no. Thanks if you're a loyal listener. Welcome back. Glad to have you. If you're not, and this is the first one you're listening to, well, you haven't missed anything.
Yeah.
Or if you feel like you did, there's a bunch of episodes you go listen to if you want.
Yeah. I'm Aaron. This is Kevin.
Mm-hmm. And what do we do here? What do we do on this brown couch?
We conversate. We do a made up word, which has become a real word. It's catching on.
That is trending.
We engage in conversation about life, about Jesus. Generally speaking, we follow kind of what we're preaching about at Saints Peter and Paul. This podcast can live on its own. You can listen to these kind of at any point. It's not like you have to hear the sermon in order to do that. But like if you're a member of our church that's going to worship and hearing a sermon, this conversation is just sort of, I kind of see it as like another peel back behind the curtain of the preacher a little bit, like
behind the scenes.
Yeah, like what were you thinking preaching those? What were you thinking preaching that?
Oh, thanks for sharing.
Yeah. Or just like I don't know. Sometimes there's other stuff that like we as preachers found like in our research or in our preparation that just gets cut out.
Yeah,
for
lack. Yeah,
a variety of different reasons. But so yeah, that's kind of the general gist of it.
Yeah, and our hope too with these conversations is that as you hear and listen, that maybe there's something that stands out to you, and then you're able to go and start a spiritual conversation of your own.
Yeah,
because that's something we value as well, and see as really our part of our Christian walk is kind of just engaging in the language of faith.
Right. Right, and those kinds of opportunities arise
unexpectedly.
Yeah, I mean, we just had a new neighbor move in across the street, and I introduced myself, and that turned into a spiritual conversation, and it was like, all right. So just be ready to take that. I was at the gym yesterday and ran into a guy, and after he said, wow, God's good timing, that we were able to have this conversation right now, while working out. So it's like, just be ready, to have Jesus on your lips. And so that's what we're trying to model here and in our conversations, because I think sometimes if you're like on Sunday, if you come to church as a worshiper and you hear the sermon, hopefully that sparks things in your mind and in your heart and that kind of stuff. But I think sometimes what happens to us as people, maybe if we think that's the only way to speak about the faith, and we're like, man, I could never stand up in front of a group and express, theological depth. So, we feel intimidated of like, I don't know, maybe I can't talk to my neighbor about faith or Jesus. And it's like, well, the conversations aren't these theological treatises. They're just, we just try to speak the name of Jesus as we know and have experienced.
And even when you think about the word witness, because that's what we're talking about is witnessing. A witness is, you think of witness on a stand, in a trial or something, like they're giving their experience of whatever happened, whatever occurred. It's not like there's some standard that they like have to hit all these criterion to be a valid witness. No, like if you're a Christian, you have experience with God, you have experience with Jesus, with faith. And those are opportunities that you get to engage in and share your experience. And the other,
and sometimes that experience and that witness is also maybe what you've witnessed in the lives of other people too, right? So sometimes the witness that I give is actually like maybe the way that I've seen God work in a situation in somebody else's life,
right?
So it's not even just like a
me and Jesus thing.
Yeah. It's like, how have I seen God at work anywhere,
And, just to, again, encourage you is to recognize too, like as Christians, as followers of Jesus, paying attention to how the Bible speaks, we don't imagine that our life is like one chaotic pinball frenzied sort of existence where it's just randomness, so like this is going to sort of pop up and you're totally going to be unprepared and unreadied. Actually, the way the scriptures talk and speak is God's behind everything, and he is placing you, he's preparing you. What's that, Esther, for such a time as this. And so God is even right now working in your life, whether you realize it or not, connecting you with particular people, certain relationships, where you are, so that His word can also go out and be out with you and reach others.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
So, should we talk about love?
If we have to. Sure. Two dudes talking about love. What could go wrong?
I don't know.
We got this.
All right.
What do you want to know?
Carnations or roses?
You know, the best Valentine I ever heard was, what was it? Something about like, I don't want roses or anything for Valentine's Day. What I want are 2 lips.
Ah,
Get it?
That's a good one.
Pretty clever. That was a classmate of mine in high school. Came up with that.
That's funny.
I like that. Then I realized I had no chance because I was in school with this guy. It's like, forget it.
He's gonna win.
Yeah, exactly.
Want to know the best Valentine I ever gave?
Sure.
It's actually not, but it's a funny story. Elementary school. Oh, which, by the way, where does the forest go to learn?
I don't know.
Elementary school.
Elementary. Got it.
Okay.
Got it.
So at some point in elementary school, I forget how old. Let's go 3rd, 4th grade, something like that. There was a girl who was nice, and she gave me a Valentine, and it had a dollar bill attached to it. And this girl was really nice, and I was I wanted to give her a Valentine, but I didn't know how to give her a Valentine or something. So the next day, I wanted to give her a Valentine. So I just gave her the same exact one back with the same dollar bill.
How'd it go? Wait, how'd it go over?
We're married.
Oh,
No, I'm just kidding. I don't even remember her name.
There's this gesture of love. It is a return.
I stewed over it. I was like, I don't know what to do.
I can't beat this. Wait a minute. If she thought this was a good idea,
Yeah,
she gave it to me.
That's what I did.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
And that's dude love right there.
That's right. That's dude love. Dude logic.
So, yeah. Love.
Love's a tricky thing, my man.
You're telling me.
Mm-hmm.
You got any pointers for me?
No.
Okay. Well, you tried to on Sunday.
Yeah, I did. So really what I wanted to help do on Sunday, this last Sunday.
Oh, wait.
Go ahead. Oh, 2 Sundays ago.
Here's the deal. Well, it's full disclosure.
Go ahead.
We're pre-recording this. I mean, I know you thought it was being a live studio audience. The live studio audience, they are here.
It's a button. Wait. There it is.
We don't have a real drummer, even though we have one.
Yeah, we do have.
But anyways, this is being pre-recorded, like more in advance than we normally would.
Yeah.
It's actually April right now. That's why I don't know where I've been on sabbatical.
It's all been a ruse, a glorious ruse. We just forgot to send this one out. We were gonna send it.
It's actually
earlier,
June 12th right now.
Yeah.
I got bored on sabbatical and I'd be like, Kevin, you want to talk?
Like, yeah, dude, hey, we should record an episode. Oh, good one. Yeah, we'll set it up 6 weeks in advance.
We're just a little bit in advance because Kevin's going to take a little vacation. Rightly so. All right. So on at that outdoor worship service.
Yeah. Well, so we're in a sermon series right now.
That.
Yeah, called "What Is Love," and what we're doing right now as a church is going through the book of 1 John, and the reason we're doing that is John in that particular letter talks about love more. I mean, at least like the time that love shows up per number of words in that letter is a higher proportion than any other book of the Bible.
Yeah.
And so, so it's like, what is love? What is John getting at? What is he trying to tell us? And especially because in 1 John 4, you hear this verse that gets quoted a lot.
That was our wedding text.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Oh, man. And it's the verse that says, God is love. Mm-hmm. But that can get very easily misconstrued or misunderstood. A lot of people's notions of love aren't really tied in at all to the biblical sense or idea of love, in particular of agape. And that's the kind of love that John's talking about.
Yeah. A lot of times at weddings, I've used this example a couple of different times, using, because you preached on some of the different Greek words for love. So I'll use that a lot because the agape love, that's the kind of love that shows up in 1 John 4. It is the one that's repeated in 1 Corinthians 13. So a lot of scripture passages that people choose for their wedding talks about love, and if you look in the Greek, it's very likely going to be agape love. Mm-hmm. And so I'll a lot of times I'll just put them on the spot, and I'll make the bride and groom tell me like what they love more than anything else in the world,
Mm-hmm.
Not the spouse. We're gonna imagine we're imagine you love God, you love your spouse, but what about something else? So people generally say something about like favorite food or some hobby or something like that, and then I get to the point of like, I love chips or something, but I also love my wife and I love God. I mean, you did something similar to that in your sermon, where it's like, in English we use the word love a lot, and so it gets kind of messy in terms of kind of trying to figure out what we mean by that, right? Because you can love your hobbies and your family and God and your spouse and be loved by God and them, but it's like we know it's not the same,
right? But how is it different?
Right.
Yeah. Is God's love of me something that's very emotionally based? Is he mad at me right now? And therefore he doesn't love me, right? You can wonder that because a lot of people's perception of love is very feelings oriented. Like when they use that word, they're saying, this is the experience I have internally when I'm with someone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, love is experienced though.
Exactly.
Right. And I think that your sermon that you preached that, what day was that? The 28th?
28th of July. Yeah.
You were quoting a lot from C.S. Lewis. What book was that?
Yes, I haven't read that one. It's called The Four Loves.
Yeah. I had not ever even heard of that.
Oh, it's a goodie.
Yeah.
If you want to borrow it, I got it.
All right. Yeah, probably not. Just kidding. I'm still on sabbatical fiction, thrillers.
Oh, nice,
so
nice.
We'll see if I move back into. No, what was I gonna say? Oh, I don't remember what I was gonna say.
Well,
other than you were talking about that book
and experiences of love.
Oh yeah. So that was the point that love is experience, and you kind of got that's what you got at, right? With all these different kinds. Do you want to? Can you just quickly go through the four Greek words for love again?
Yep. Here's your four loves. Storge, that's familial love.
So in the Greek language, they have multiple words for love.
For love, yeah. So all four of these words get translated as love.
Just like Eskimos have multiple words for snow.
That's right.
All right, go on.
Storge, that's your family love. Mother to child or, brother to brother. Doesn't matter. Family, built in.
Does that one... is that ever in the Bible?
So that's the one of these four that doesn't show up.
Yeah.
The other three will, which are philos, that's friend love. So like Philadelphia, that's actually two Greek words, which is interesting. So like philos and adelphos. Adelphos is brother.
Yeah.
So it's the city of brotherly love.
Yeah.
I didn't include it because it's confusing because it's combining two different, the family and friend idea. But anyways, philos, yeah. So that's chosen love. You're going to choose your friends. It's going to be based on probably mutual interest. I mean, hopefully you have a friend. If not, guys, come hang out with us. We'll be your friend.
Yeah, we got a seat right here. Yeah, right in the middle.
We'll see how long you're our friend for. So you got storge, you got philos. Third is eros. So that is where we get our word erotic. So it's connected to that sexual, sensuous love, romantic experience, but also in a wider sense, sort of just like the primal, almost like instinctual. So like when we say like I love pizza, that's eros, because it's like an impulse, if you will, more feelings oriented. So that's like my thing when people talk about love as a feeling.
Yeah.
Most of the time I'm thinking, okay, you're talking about eros right now, like if that's what you're talking about. But then agape is the fourth. That's the one that the Bible uses, not exclusively, but like premierly, like almost every instance of love.
In the New Testament primarily.
Yes, well, that's exactly. All of these are New Testament because we're talking Greek here. Hebrew lessons
Hey, there's
next
a
week.
Septuagint.
Oh, dude, you're right. I always forget about that.
That's the Greek translation of the Old Testament.
There you go. It came out in the BC days.
Boom.
Yeah. Yeah, and agape love, though, is unique in that it's not reciprocal. It's something you can do in any relationship. It's a giving love. It gets translated as charity, I think, a lot in like the New King or the King James version. And that's that idea, right? Like charity, you're giving to someone else. It's a sacrifice on your part. There's not an expectation of return, and it's not like feelings oriented. Like that really doesn't have too much to do with it. Now you will probably feel things on the receiving end of charity. But one isn't necessarily motivated out of any particular feeling. Like it's not like a worthiness thing.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's the idea of it being, of agape love being like sacrificial and loving without expecting anything in return.
Yeah.
Theoretically, I get it. But loving like that is hard.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, I know my own selfish motivations, and it's always there's always that desire, I think, for it to be reciprocated. Even I don't know. I mean, even in marriage, right? It's like, I'm gonna do my absolute best to love like that. I mean, that's what we're called to do. I mean, that's Ephesians 5 language of like, loving my wife as Christ loves the church, laying my life down for it. Talk about sacrificial, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm willing to do that, but then eventually, if I'm the only one loving like that, it's like, well, I mean, what about me? I don't know. I'm speaking hypothetically. I'm not speaking about my own marriage.
For sure. But that's the key there, right? Is like agape is also not to the slighting of the other three loves, which is important to remember.
Yeah.
So someone could rightly say in that scenario, in a hypothetical situation where one is giving to the other completely, like selflessly, but not getting nothing in return. I mean, they are not, they might be loving in an agape way, but very likely they're not experiencing eros. There's a grief for lack of eros. There's a grief for lack of philos, probably. I mean, because our spouses also become our friends, our companions. And so that's where like the separation helps, because you understand like, okay, there's different experiences of love. Which one am I really talking about? Which one am I engaging in? And also, though, to your point, talking about the difficulty of agape, I think. Go ahead.
No. You keep talking. I got to look something up.
Yeah, look it up. Because I would go so far as to say that the kind of love you're talking about that sounds so difficult, I would say, it's actually impossible apart from God. I mean, this is why God is agape. It's only by his power that we can ever love in this sort of selfless way. Because just as natural human beings, like by our nature, we not just need reciprocation, but we also crave it. We over desire it. And that can be problematic, but we actually, on a basic human level, we need it. We're not God.
Right.
Yeah.
I was just curious. When Jesus says, greater love has no one than this, that a man should lay down his life for his friends in John 15. He's talking about like love and friends. I was just curious which Greek word it is, but it is agape.
One of the most curious, this is a total side piece, it's probably useless to this conversation, but it is interesting in the end of the book of John.
Yeah, that's the
So Peter's betrayed Jesus, and Jesus confronts him on the beach and restores him. It's the restoration of Peter. But Jesus asks him 3 times, do you love me? Mm-hmm. And what's fascinating is you won't pick this up if you're just reading the English translation, but there's 2 different words for love that are used. Mm-hmm. Jesus asks him, do you agape me? Mm-hmm. And Peter each time says, of course, Jesus, I philos you. Right. So, I mean, this is a profound mystery to me. Right. It's a very, there's lots of, I think, things to chew on in what's going on. But what happens is the 3rd time when Jesus asks Peter, he doesn't ask him to step up to agape. He says, do you philos me? Mm. And that's when Peter breaks down and cries. And part of it's, because Peter's just betrayed Jesus. Yeah. Like, it's almost like Peter saying, like, not saying as bluntly as, no, Jesus, I don't agape you. But in a way, that implication's there. He's not able to rise up to that level. He knows it. He just betrayed Jesus. Right. He wasn't selfless in his love for him. Mm-hmm. But then when Jesus stoops down sort of to Peter's level, it's all, his heart breaks. Because even there, it's like, hard to say he even philos loved Jesus, with the betrayal.
Right.
But Peter's, absolutely, clearly connected to Jesus, does love him, regrets his action. I mean, he wept bitterly outside, right, following his betrayal and all that. But anyways, interesting passage. I don't know if you had other thoughts or had heard other things on that.
I've heard lots of things on it. So I think what you just said is enough and a good way to recap on that. So, so even though we are ahead of the game in this podcast will come out after I preach on the beginning of chapter 2 in 1 John. Mm-hmm. So 1 John 2, 1-14. And in that regard, they actually talk about this fact that there's this commandment that we've had from the very beginning. And it's not a new command, it's this old command. And it's a little bit, when you just read it in John, it's almost like, what are they what are they talking about? But when you expound on that, it's the command to love one another. And that has been with God's people from the very beginning. Like, it's in the Mosaic law, like, love your neighbor as yourself. That's there. I mean, when Jesus is asked, what's the greatest law? Jesus says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, that's the great Shema. That's the Jews, that was like their creed that they would confess every day. But then Jesus also continues on, and love your neighbor as yourself. The second is like it.
Which is interesting, because Jesus in that moment is pulling from 2 separate pieces of Old Testament scripture,
right?
Deuteronomy and Leviticus, right? Yeah.
But then also Jesus on the night that he's betrayed, he gives a new command to them. The Maundy Thursday.
That's right. Yeah.
Right. The Maundy Thursday of Holy Week that's the Latin word mandatum, commandment. Right. A new command I give to you: love one another. So Jesus is speaking to his disciples. This is my command. Right. Love one another. Right.
So what is Jesus? What is Jesus' instruction to the entire church for the rest of history? This is how the people of the world will know you follow me. Love.
Right.
Now, love
what
not
kind of love.
Exactly. Love not, and that doesn't mean be nice to everybody and say everything they want to hear, because that'll make them feel good. Yeah. No, that's not what Jesus is saying. He's not saying, stick with your people, have a pact with them, fight for them against everyone else that's coming against them. No, it's agape. Right. It's self-sacrificial love in the way of Jesus, and Jesus, obviously embodies it.
Right. But this whole. Back to the idea of, like, what is love, right? And what does it mean to love one another in an agape kind of way, in a Christ-like kind of way. So I think this gets misunderstood a lot. Just yesterday I had multiple conversations. Multiple people brought up to me the opening ceremony at the Olympics.
Sure.
And I don't know what to make of of this. You know, I think that we shouldn't expect Christian people, or we shouldn't expect non-Christian people to act like Christian people.
Correct.
For one.
Correct.
But in a Christian response to, you know, something that maybe feels like mockery or an offensiveness to our deeply held beliefs, it's like what would a Christian response be? You know, and in the online world, there's no shortage of people who say they're Christians responding in all sorts of different kinds of ways.
That's right.
And you know, there's a lot of anger and hostility and all that kind of stuff. And then there's also people saying, "Don't worry about it. It's fine, whatever." So in my conversations with people regarding this, I was just saying like I already said, we shouldn't expect non-Christian people to act like Christian people, for one. But what does it look like? What does it look like to love those people and to lead with love? Love is not equal to tolerance. And I think this is the point too. Like, I think in our kind of secular culture in which we live, that's generally what people think of when they think of love. They think love, like, if I love you, it means
I accept everything about you fully and condone it.
Yeah.
Because if it's working for you, great.
Yep.
Yeah.
As long as you're happy and not hurting anybody, right?
There you go.
And that's not love. that's not agape love. But if I truly love you and you're doing something that's contradictory to the gospel, especially if you're a Christian brother, right? If you're somebody who confesses Christ and you're living, I mean, this is right in 1 John chapter 2 and you know what it preached about, but like, you can't say that you're in the light and walk in the darkness. Like you can't do that. So my job as a Christian brother of yours is to shine the light into the darkness, that we can expose what's in the dark and you can live in the light. And so in doing that, I'm actually, I am kind of being sacrificial in that, I'm sort of putting some stuff on the line to call you out. Yeah. You know, and that's actually, that's hard, you know? But I'm willing to do that and have that hard conversation and point some hard stuff out to you because I love you and I want what's best for you. I don't want you to be hurt. I don't want you to do things that are damaging to your body, mind, spirit, soul, relationships. And so I'll call that out. And I'm not expecting anything in return for that. I love you so much and my heart breaks for you if you're far away from Jesus and living in darkness, that I'm moved with compassion, just to give you that truth and to give you that light, you know? And so I think, I don't know, in regard to the Olympics, I don't know anybody on the Olympics committee, you know? But I think when we have the opportunity to engage in conversation with people, that has to be our posture. Yeah.
Well, and again, Christ is the model, you know, and you talk about this mockery, right? Like, well, he knows all about that. He knows 100% about that.
He died while being mocked.
Exactly. And there you have both sides of the coin, though, because you have Jesus being absolutely gracious to people who are undeserving of it. Yeah. And yet his death on the cross is a statement from God about human nature. He's not saying this was right. You know, the resurrection means that was wrong, that happened to me.
Well, that's the wrath of God poured out on him.
Instead of us. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, exactly. And
so it's judgment. It's a judgment for...
Right. It's not tolerance. See? Exactly. It's not God saying, well, it's totally fine, whatever's going on. Because if that was the case, Jesus wouldn't have died.
Right.
There was some things that were wrong, but Jesus approaches it in such a literally self-sacrificial way. And so, you know, if we're not motivated by love, I guess go back to that commandment. Amazing how Jesus can say, and God's word can speak things so succinctly that are just full of meaning. But if your intentions are not motivated by love, check them. Check your actions before you act.
Right.
There's a great article called "The Myth of Righteous Anger." If you're still someone who thinks like, well, it's right for me to be angry because this is against God, check out our friend Jeffrey Gibbs' article on the myth of righteous anger. Humans aren't good at anger. We fall very short of God's righteous anger. If it's not motivated by love, agape love, check your actions.
Yeah. Well, I think people kind of like being angry.
Oh, we love it. We love it. It's very comfortable for a lot of us. Not everyone likes it. Some people are too afraid of it, honestly.
Yeah.
Some people don't get angry when they ought to. That's not the right move either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My point is like agape love flies in the face of like our natural inclination.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so we have to. That's why we have to be reoriented, right? And
receive it.
And that's the John 15 language, of like the abiding in Jesus, right? And that like when we're connected to the vine of Jesus, like he pours his love in. Like we can't. Here's the thing about agape love: we can't. We cannot do it on our own.
Yeah, you can do nothing apart from me.
Right.
John 15.
Yeah. Right. So we will know nothing of this agape love or experience it. We can't experience it or give it apart from Jesus.
Yeah.
So that's the thing too, is like we have to really learn to appreciate what Jesus has done for us. Right. And to be really honest with ourselves of our undeserving nature, right? And that grace that he's given to us, that love, that because that agape love is grace, right? It's undeserved. He just gives it.
That's right. Yeah.
And so we're nothing but lost and condemned without Jesus' love for us. And so if we have any kind of love to give, it's just flowing through us.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's how I talk to people in marriages and that kind of stuff too. Like we're called to this high kind of love for one another, but I can't actually give it to you unless I'm getting it from Jesus. And so like our highest love has to be for Jesus.
Yeah.
And giving it to him and also receiving it from him. So that love, that my primary relationship is actually with my Creator, even before my spouse, even before my children, and before this church.
Yep.
Because I can't, I just can't love anybody else,
right,
without receiving his love first.
Yeah. If that's not the case, like I'm doing damage not only to myself, but in all of my relationships, because I'm not going to be able to love them the way that I'm called to, and in the way that is actually good for them.
Right.
Yeah. It's powerful stuff, man.
Yeah.
It's agape jazz.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to have you back, and I'm excited.
Are we done already?
Oh, I think so. Save it for next week.
I got 3 months of stuff to talk about. What are we doing? I got nowhere to be. I don't have any appointments. What do you... Come on, Kevin. The people are hungry for...
Oh, I know. There it is, still roaring with jazz music.
All right, fine.
Oh, man, I can't... There it is.
I'm out of coffee. I could refill my coffee. We could press pause. We could go get more coffee. We could come back.
No. But I love you.
Kevin's tired. I got all kinds of energy. What do you think about my tan? Is it pretty good?
You do look good. Molly and her sisters would talk about the bronze men.
Yeah? Do I look like a bronze man?
You're almost there. I don't want to describe the bronze man.
Third place? I should be a gold man.
Ooh, that's
a little Olympics humor there. You been watching Olympics?
Only at your house.
I'm going to keep going. What else you want to talk about?
I got nothing.
Fine. Kevin's going to leave. I'll just monologue for a while. What do you guys want to talk about?
Yeah, send in your questions. Load Aaron's inbox with your questions, please. Please. He needs someone to talk to.
Yeah, I got nothing to do. I forgot how to work. All right.
It'll come back.
Okay. All right.
Huh?
Well,
Cheers, buddy.
bye.
Bye.